Hi, everyone. My name is Anina, and I'm the CEO and founder of 360 Fashion Network. Thank you so much, Felix, for having me today on your show. I'm thrilled to be here today and to share my story. I'm based in Beijing, and I've been here since December 7th when I arrived after the Amazon reInvent conference. And yeah, I just came back. I have my lab here, and we've been working on robotic dresses. And I decided that I wanted to have a rest. And last year, I invested in tons of online software streaming, and I had sort of planned that this year would be the year of being online. Little did I know that that would be more than just being online, but being in lockdown. So, um, we were working together. We've been working on our dresses and all sorts of stuff and new projects. And slowly there came sort of like whisperings on the social media about some kind of flu or going around, etc. And so since it's either I'm in my house or I'm in the lab, I don't really go too many other places. I did have to go to Shenzhen, but my engineer is in Shenzhen. And so I was like, oh, okay, you go to the factory. I'm not going anywhere. And as things sort of progressed, life was normal, but I just never really went out. And the more and more we started hearing about that this was something more than a flu, it was quite interesting because uh, at that point I thought, this is about January, and I thought, wow, I am going to move my lab, everything that we can, into the house. At least that way, if something happens, we'll just, we have everything here. So we all got together and we like brought everything into my house, and we were all camping out here right before the Chinese New Year. And we were working, and the place looked like we were building bombs. And yeah, that night, sort of, we were like hacking all night, and then all of a sudden, uh, in the morning, we got like an hour of sleep or something like that, not even. And then that morning, my software engineer, she got a message that said Beijing was shutting down all trains and transportation. And it was really like one of those situations in the movies where she was like, wow, I have to get to my hometown, to my family. And so she called up her cousin, and then they made a plan to get in the car like half an hour later, and drive by car, because the roads weren't blocked, but they didn't have any trains or anything anymore. So we were really like stuffing things and electronics into bags and handing it to her so that she had extra parts. I had the same parts, that we all had the same parts. And so then off she went. And then that day, I was with my interns. We were working, and then they went home that evening, and they were supposed to come back the next day. And then they woke up and took pictures of guards at their door, and they couldn't leave their universities. And then my engineer told me, um, Anina, like they've issued this, this mandate that no one should, go outside, and everybody should stay home. And and then, like on the social media, I saw sort of everybody start talking about N95 masks, N95 masks, or this mask or that mask, and these masks didn't work, and how could we get masks? And I have to be honest, I missed the mask boat, because I was like, I'm not really going anywhere. I tend to be well prepared. I had like food and everything. And the only mistake I think that I made there is I had half a jug of water, and I should have ordered right then and there another jug of water. So I eventually did run out of water, and I had to go out. And it was winter time and icy and everything. And so they said, everybody has to wear masks. So, I have thousands of masks, but I didn't have a KN95 mask. But I like, put like 3 masks on, And I think I had some weird Korean viral mask for some odd reason kicking around the house. And out I went. And I ordered some, food at my favorite takeaway because it was Monday and it was like 50% off. And I was walking down the street and there was not one person on the street. I live on a major, like, 6-lane street, which is like a normal street in China, and there are always people around. And I live in a huge building complex, and there are always people around. It was like a ghost town. There was not one single person. And then when I got to the shopping mall to pick up my food, I saw that the shopping mall had like locks on it and it was totally shut down. And I was really pissed at the food people. And I was texting them angrily as I was walking back. I was like, I can't believe it. You told me you were open, and they weren't open. And then they were like, yes, 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 we're open. Come to the other side of the building. And I went around to the other side of the building and they had like their back door open where they were taking deliveries. And when I went inside, of course, there was no one in the entire restaurant, and everybody, all the workers had masks on, and just the delivery guys were coming in and leaving, and I was picking up my delivery. And it was the first time I thought, is this food safe to eat, And I sort of like asked them, and then he showed me that they already had hand sanitizer and masks on and everything like that. And I was like, wow, okay. So I went back to my house, but there was literally, again, no bike, no car, no human on the street, huge street, nobody, not a one person. I just saw that one courier at the restaurant, and that was it. So then, yeah, like more time went by, and that's when I ran out of water. And so I was like, okay. And so I went to like call to have water delivery, and I found out that there was no water delivery anymore, and that, like, I guess all those people had been stuck in their hometowns. And so I was like, oh man, I gotta get some water. I gotta go on a mission. And so I was like, okay, so I masked up and I went out and I went around the, corner, which is like a really big corner in China. It's like going 2 kilometers is around the corner in China, around the block. And I went to my organic food store because I was not going to go to the big box store, the Carrefour. There was like no way, because by that point we all knew, avoid crowds, wear masks, stay home, don't get it. And so I went around the corner, and there was only like maybe 2 people in the entire organic supermarket. But what I did notice was all the workers had gloves on and masks on. And I realized as I was walking around the store, and I didn't touch anything, and I realized, I want gloves too. So I went to the lady, and I asked her, like, I motioned for some gloves, could I have some gloves? And she was like gonna hand me a box of gloves, and I was like, I don't need a box of gloves, I just need gloves here. So then she gave me a set of gloves, and then I went happily around touching things because I was touching them with gloves on. But at that point I knew, wow, this is very serious situation right now. Like, this very serious situation. And I almost died on the way back, laden with like food and water jugs because I couldn't get my big delivery of water anymore. And I hunkered down again. And then it was okay because we're used to, working remotely and so on. And so that's when this whole thing came about of, working remotely, and this incredible opportunity. And then we started hearing about everybody trying to get online, but we were already online as an organization because I had invested in all that online software last year. And so we were already working remotely and doing teleconferencing and everything. And that was super interesting to see. I consulted for an education company because then there was no kids were going to school. My interns were like trapped in the university, never to be released again, I guess. And at that point, I started consulting for this education company. They're like, how are we going to teach online? And I was like, oh, that's easy. I know how to do that. And so I helped them get online and create a really good, school environment environment and everything like that, that felt like, really educational. And I just started thinking, oh my gosh, this is an incredible opportunity. The whole world is, teching up right now. And we are finally going to the next level. Like everything is pushing us, in the direction of AR, VR, virtual, live streaming, etc. And I was just like, wow, this is absolutely amazing opportunity that people who would never get teched up, were. So I just want to say that although it comes with a great deal of tragedy, I also believe that there is an incredible amount of opportunity that, we really all have been waiting for. Like lots of people right now are learning to trust their companies, and that their companies are learning to trust their remote workers. And people are really enjoying working at home. Some people with small kids are going crazy, but 2 months down the road, I've heard people say that they have a better bond with their children than they've ever had. And homeschooling is pretty darn good, has a proven track record. So I just really think that in a way, this is kind of like, the world is pushing us to go to this next level of tech, and everybody has to come with, everybody who can has to come with. And we are going to learn how to interact online. For some reason, the whole world wants us to be like virtual right now. And the other sort of like benefits, shall we say, of it is, reduced carbon emissions. Like if you watch coal, it like totally went off, like down completely. And that's simply because of logistic companies and everything that makes smog stops. So, Greta got her wish. I just think that it is incredibly important. And the thing that kept us all safe was the fact that, everybody here took it extremely seriously. Of course, they have the SARS background, that's why. But secondly, I just feel that, from our perspective, it was like, hey, we don't need to go anywhere, so let's just get some work done, let's buckle up and stay. And I had to go to events overseas, and so I telepresenced in. I telepresenced into New York City DRAM, and I also refused to go to, Spain, even though I would potentially lose my grant. But I had to weigh it out and say, like, okay, is this grant money worth like risking, the safety of everybody and myself? So I just really want to say, in conclusion, is that this is an opportunity. We are going to have to learn new things and new ways of doing things. And the old, it's gone. Like we're never going to get that back. We're never going to get that back because 1.3 billion people just went online and like are now expecting something different. And now America and Europe are going through that learning process. And when we come out the other side, everybody is going to have an idea of how to do this online. So I just ask you all to take this situation extremely seriously, and to wear gloves, wear mask, and get disinfected, and to stay extremely, to yourself. Use this time to build yourself up, and use this time to really think about the future. Thank you so much, Felix, for letting me share my story with you. And I'm still in Beijing. We're not officially still under lockdown, but we're still being temperaturized and have to, control coming in and out of the buildings and so on and so forth. And everybody zaps you with the thermometer, electric thermometer. And everybody wears masks, and everybody wears gloves, and everybody takes it extremely seriously. So thank you so much, Felix. And I really want you to know my heart is with you.